Kambosos to win. I had picked Kambosos to win. Kambosos thought he losing a unanimous decision to DEVIN HANEY. Jeff, first of all, you had picked Kambosos to win. I had picked Kambosos to win. Kambosos thought he won after the fight, as did a lot of us. Your thoughts on the fight and the outcome with the fight going to DEVIN HANEY?
First, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, what you heard is the voice of the man behind the camera for the Mayweather boxing channel. You have Jeff Mayweather as the host of the channel, the younger brother of Floyd Mayweather Sr., the younger brother of the late, great, legendary, retired, well-renowned trainer and former world champion Roger Mayweather, and the uncle of undefeated, retired, legendary, iconic, superstar boxer Floyd Mayweather. Okay, Jeff Mayweather, he helped train undefeated, newly crowned, undisputed, lightweight world champion, superstar boxer DEVIN "The Dream" Haney. Okay, since DEVIN HANEY was a kid, DEVIN HANEY had been going to the Mayweather boxing gym since DEVIN HANEY was 7 years of age. Okay, maybe even younger. Okay, he's been going to the Mayweather boxing gym. All right, DEVIN HANEY was the undefeated WBC lightweight world champion, superstar boxer with a record of 27 wins, no loss, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout, 23 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, going into a massive undisputed showdown with newly crowned unified lightweight world champion Australian star boxer George Kambosos Jr., who was going into the fight with 20 wins, no loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout at 28 years of age, 5'9" with a 68-inch arm reach. It was taking place in Australia. But with that said, okay, Jeff Mayweather, he helped bring up this kid. He helped train this kid. Yes, it was the odds and the deck was stacked against DEVIN HANEY. For sure, the deck was stacked against him. He had to go all the way to Australia to make the fight happen. And, many people didn't think that he would get a fair shake. Not that he wouldn't win the fight because of his skill set and talent in the ring, but many people thought he wouldn't win the fight because the referees and the judges just wouldn't give him a fair shake. Okay, so with that said, Jeff Mayweather was asked about who he thought would win, and Jeff Mayweather, he picked against DEVIN HANEY. He stated that DEVIN HANEY was going to lose. He was picking George Kambosos Jr. DEVIN HANEY, obviously, he was hurt, right? His feelings was hurt, because Jeff Mayweather is somebody that helped bring him up, okay, and knew his talents and knew what he could do. Now, obviously, his father, trainer, manager, and CEO of DHP, DEVIN HANEY Promotions, that being Bill Haney, he was also not allowed initially to go to the fight. So, yeah, there was a lot, that was stacked against DEVIN HANEY in this situation, for sure, okay? But with that said, Jeff Mayweather, he should have had more faith in DEVIN HANEY, right? And that's what DEVIN HANEY felt. And so he picked against DEVIN HANEY. He picked George Kambosos Jr. Now, after the fight, obviously, DEVIN HANEY, he pitched the shutout. He won every single round against George Kambosos Jr., okay, in George Kambosos' hometown. And yes, the judges tried to give George Kambosos Jr. a little bit of home cooking, for sure. They tried to give it a 116-112 fight, which saw them George Kambosos win 4 to 5 rounds in the fight, which we know simply was not true. He didn't win 4 to 5 rounds in the fight. He didn't even win a single round in this fight, okay? So this is a fighter who was born and bred in the Mayweather gym. He modeled his game and his style after the Mayweather style, okay? So after the fight, DEVIN HANEY created history, right? He became the first undisputed 4 major sanction belt lineal lightweight world champion in the history of the sport of boxing. Now, there's obviously been other undisputed lightweight champions in the history of the sport of boxing. The last one to do it was the late, great, legendary, iconic Hall of Fame superstar boxer and Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker, but that was the 3-belt era, okay? DEVIN HANEY has done it in the 4-belt era. He collected all 4 belts, okay? And so after the fight, Jeff Mayweather, he said he felt bad. He said that DEVIN HANEY, he contacted him. DEVIN HANEY told him, now eat your words. He said it started off, obviously, he tried to water it down, and he stated that it started off a little bit, hostile, to say the least, right? Devin Haney immediately reached out to him and told him, now eat your words, right? And he said that, now Jeff Mayweather said he feels bad because Devin Haney told him, you should be uplifting me, you should be pushing me, you should be backing me, regardless of what situation I'm faced with, right? Not picking against me. And he said that he felt bad, that, he peeled back because he should have, took that route and still backed him, right? Devin Haney told him, now you got to eat your words. So he stated that now Jeff Mayweather is trying to clean it up, and he's saying that he didn't mean it in the manner of, George Kambosos was a better fighter. He meant it in the manner of, George Kambosos Jr. having an advantage as far as the circumstances surrounding the situation, right? And so with that said, the thing that gets me the most, and the thing I don't like about this entire interview and this entire situation, is that Jeff Mayweather is allowing his cameraman and this guy behind the camera to clearly be biased, and he's going to tell Jeff Mayweather in this interview that Jeff Mayweather is being biased because he brought up Devin Haney, right? And he's trying to correct Jeff Mayweather and tell Jeff Mayweather, essentially, you don't have to worry about being biased, just be honest, right? We saw George Kambosos lose the fight. So Jeff Mayweather is trying to tell him, listen, that's not what I saw. He didn't win the fight. But listen to this.
I take Kambosos because of situation, not because of talent versus talent. I thought that 60,000 people screaming for Kambosos would be too much for Devin. But
so now he said he thought that 60,000 people screaming for Kambosos would be too much for Devin. So you feeling like Devin was going to shrink under the pressure, under the circumstances, right? And you didn't think that he would be able to weather the storm, right? Essentially, that's what he's saying, right?
Prove me wrong. And not only did it prove me wrong, me and him actually had a conversation. We kind of text each other back and forth, and it went from, kind of like, he reached out and he said, eat your words, not.
So you see, he's saying like it kind of went from this to it kind of went to that, right? He's trying to lighten it. Devin Haney clearly reached out and let him know, now you got to eat your words.
Judges were probably biased, being top ranked, but those of us that weren't biased saw maybe potentially a different fight, that it was close, and potentially Kambosos would have won.
Yeah, well, the fight wasn't close. The fight wasn't close at all, and I take my hat off.
600,000
or 60,000, whatever.
So you're biased. The judges were probably biased, being top ranked, but those of us that weren't biased saw maybe potentially a different fight, that it was.
So you hear his reporter, his cameraman telling him that you're biased, the judges was biased, the referee was biased. No, nobody was biased. And Jeff Mayweather, instead of him correcting him, letting him get away with it.
60,000, whatever.
So you're biased. The judges were probably biased, being top ranked, but those of us that weren't biased saw maybe potentially a different fight, that it was close, and potentially Kambosos would have won.
Yeah, well, the fight wasn't close. The fight wasn't close.
So you can hear him saying, you're biased, and Jeff Mayweather, he's subtly correcting him, saying, well, the fight wasn't close. No, correct him and just tell him the fight wasn't close. George Kambosos didn't even win a round. It was a shutout, right? And so here's the problem with it, right? Is that you clearly have this man pushing an agenda behind your camera against a kid that you raised and you brought up in the boxing gym, and you helped hone his skills. And yet you find a way to still not just correct him, outright correct him. Listen, man, it was a dominating performance by Devin Haney. He's letting this man tell him you biased, the Top Rank was biased, the judges was biased. Why would the judges be biased? For what? It's amazing, man. So, Devin Haney checked Jeff Mayweather, and you can see that Jeff Mayweather saying not because of the skill, but you thought that the atmosphere was going to be too much. You thought he was going to shrink under the pressure, right? And you thought that it was going to be a close enough fight where he was going to lose. Period. So regardless of his skill set, right? You thought that George Kambosos Jr. and the atmosphere and the circumstances was going to be too much for him. Not just because the deck was stacked against him, right? You said 60,000 fans screaming in an arena was going to be too much for Devin Haney to overcome. Period. You didn't think that Devin Haney was going to win this fight. And I'm glad that Devin Haney reached out and did it, properly, right? And let him know, listen, now you got to eat your words, like many other people got to eat their words when it comes to Devin Haney and this situation. Right? And people are going to continue to pick against Devin Haney. And Jeff Mayweather, all people, in a situation where he know his son was always picked, his nephew, excuse me. His nephew was always, people always picked against his nephew just simply to see him lose. He should know better than that. But I'm glad Devin Haney did what he did, and now he on top of the world and created history. Period. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Devin Haney, the new lightweight king, created history, undefeated, undisputed lightweight champion, and it will never be erased. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.